What are backups? By user Ateng. This one's almost 20 years ago now, 2004 or 2005. My smallest customer, the owner, a guy, and his laptop, his admin/secretary/bookkeeper, a woman, and her PC and the server. More CPUs than heartbeats in that organization. The IT nuclear family. We should note here that this was the first and only small business server installation that I ever did. This becomes important later. So I do the installation of all three systems, built their AD and group policies out, and spent the afternoon showing the admin how she should get the backup tapes in and out of the server and which tapes go when, so they had a backup rotation. Fast forward about a year. She calls me up and starts with, "Hey, I think I messed up. I just accidentally deleted our QuickBooks file off the server." No problem, I'm thinking, it's 8:30 a.m. We'll just pop in yesterday's tape, since there's no recycle bin for deleted network files. So I ask her to grab yesterday's backup tape, to which she responds, "Tape? Is that the thingy that sticks out of the front of the server?" In that moment, I realized that A, she had never pushed the tape into the server, so B, there wasn't a single backup of my customer's data anywhere. Oh shit. Now, in a not minor panic about what smells like a business-ending loss of data and probable lawsuit on the horizon, I tried to keep my cool while I drove over to the customer site. I checked the server and confirmed that no backup has been run since I was there to do the installation the year prior. I cast about for a solution, and in that moment, the gods smiled upon me. Took me about a half hour to realize it, but Small Business Server is the only flavor of Windows Server 2003 to pre-configure volume shadow copy out of the box. I just had to go to the drive, access the shadow copy and restore their entire bookkeeping system. I wrote out all the procedures for backups in email, to cover my butt should that ever happen again, but I never have forgotten the sound of that bullet whizzing past me. Still the luckiest moment of my career, even almost 20 years later. They lost some points on the landing, by userol_jankspirit. We use a third party for phishing tests and cybersecurity training. As my bosses don't allow me, yet, to punish the people who don't complete the training, I have to be nice instead. Quarterly, I draw a random user who has completed 100% of the trainings and send them a gift certificate to an online retailer who doesn't need my help marketing them here. I give the user a shout out in the all-staff chat, and I shoot them a message telling them to be on the lookout for the incoming email. Well, this quarter's winner was a little bit overly proactive. They ignored my head's UPS, and promptly flagged the legitimate email as a phishing attempt, thereby deleting it from their inbox. I guess I should be happy that they're airing. Edit. I'm keeping the typo to sit in my shame, on the side of caution, but I couldn't help but laugh when they, after seeing my notices, came asking if there was any way to recover it. In which the server isn't a server, by user Kashmir1. I work for a small MSP as a contractor. I have many stories. This one from around when I started a couple years ago. I get a call from a new client that their server crashed. I go out and it's a small non-profit using a mix of Vista and 7 on circa 2009 HP PCs. I ask to see the server and get pointed to the front desk PC. Turns out server meant PC with a network share on it that all the other PCs were connected to. It wasn't booting, but I was told it should be an easy fix even if it was dead, because there are backups. The backup was a USB tape drive that was corrupted. Anything I plugged it into immediately threw up a warning that the drive was corrupt and unreadable. Further inspection of the server was almost just as bad. There was about a medium-sized cat's worth of fur inside. They had 2 office cats, the heatsink and PSU were completely clogged up, and the intake and exhaust fans were almost completely seized. After cleaning it out, it still doesn't boot. Tried a different PSU and tried the HDD in a different PC, still no go. The drive was at least readable as an external do. I got their files back for them, but couldn't recover any software they had, including an apparently expensive NEOL legal paperwork database thing that had moved to a cloud-based solution some years prior. Client was pissed I couldn't recover his very expensive software, that he tossed the disk for years ago, and told me to my face I was bad at my job. We did not keep them as a client. Old man and his iPhone, by user_mag_kartoffel. The other day, probably the other week by the time I type, edit, and post this, I visited my grandparents, and took them out for lunch. While we were out, we ran into one of their friends, who I have met before but hadn't seen for a long time. Greetings were exchanged, and I was introduced. "Oh yes, I remember you. You're the one who fixed my phone for me." Me thinking, did I? I wonder when that was. It must have been quite a while ago, because I can't remember the last time I saw you. A couple of years ago I had to get rid of my trusty old flip phone because they closed down the network on me. Geez, I know you're old, but flip phone, network closed down, so we're probably talking when Telstra shut down their 2G network. Again, when did I fix your phone? FYI, checking now on the Googles tells me that the network shutdown I'm guessing was the catalyst for his new phone happened at the end of 2016. And now I've got this damn fool Apple thing that I've got the same problem with. Okay, what problem could a technologically illiterate nonagenarian have with both a flip phone and an iPhone? Hopefully my vast experience with all things Apple/S will serve me well here. I took possession of the ancient iPhone, no idea what model it was, and woke it up. Swipe only to unlock, no security, no surprise. As I looked through the almost complete lack of icons on his home screen, there was only one screen I checked. He finally gave me a hint what the problem was, and thank God he did, because at that point I still had no memory of ever fixing his phone. That damn thing rings so loud it hurts my ears. I just want it to buzz. With that comment, I remembered. Yes, I had turned off the ringtone on his flip phone while leaving vibrate on. I was still at high school at the time, so we're talking 15 plus years ago. After a brief explore of the settings, I was able to make the necessary changes. I handed the phone back to him, and asked what his number was so I could check my work. Upon me calling him, his face lit up as the silently vibrating phone alerted him to the incoming call. Thank you so much for fixing that. You're a lifesaver. After a brief chat with my grandparents, we said our farewells and went our separate ways. But it staggers me that he had been putting up with his phone hurting his ears for 6 years without getting it fixed, but still remembered me fixing a similar problem for him at least 15 years ago. At least I was able to fix it. Tech Wizard image preserved again. That's your problem right there, by user Baldessimo. First time poster, mobile device, please be gentle, you're all very good looking etc. Very short and simple, but I still think of this occasionally and it makes me smile. Some 10 years or so ago, I was working in tech support for an external IT provider. One of my colleagues gets a call from one of our customers. Her PC was working fine this morning, but after she returned from lunch, the monitor wouldn't wake up and she didn't know what to do. My colleague had her test her keyboard and mouse but to no avail. He then asks the customers to trace the cable from the monitor to her PC under the desk, in case there is a disconnect. She crawls under the desk and the PC is not there. After some awkwardness and confusion, we discover that their own on-site IT team had collected the PC to do some work, but hadn't told her and apparently forgot to return it. They reconnected the PC, which unsurprisingly solved the issue. Luckily, the customer found it as funny as we did.